Your life isn't tough because you don't have enough opportunities. It's tough because your focus is all over the place. The moment you wake up, your mind starts running in 10 different directions. You need some money, want some peace, have to build your body, learn new skills, and check social media too. By the end of the day, you feel like you've been busy nonstop, but haven't really moved forward. The one thing tells a truth that sounds super simple at first, but if you truly understand it, it can change your whole life. And that truth is, you don't get success by doing everything. Success, you can get what you want by doing just one thing. Now listen carefully. What's your biggest mistake? You think you have to balance everything. But here's the truth. Someone who spreads their focus equally can't be extraordinary at anything, because energy and focus are limited, and when you spread it everywhere, nothing gets deep. Now imagine sunlight spreading everywhere. It just feels warm. But if that light is focused through a lens in one spot, it starts a fire. That's the difference between scattered focus and concentrated focus. Stay focused. Now, here's a question. Do you really want to just look busy, or do you want to get results? Because those are two totally different things. Today's world teaches you that being busy is what makes you important. But being busy doesn't mean you're productive. You can work all day and still end up stuck in the same place in life. That's because you're putting energy into the wrong things. Here's something deep. Every person has that one thing in their life. Once it's sorted out, everything else becomes easier. The problem is, most people can't even recognize what that is. They treat every little thing as equally important. You know how you get overwhelmed when you try to do too many things at once? Now imagine if you just focused on one thing. The one thing that, if you do it right, everything else will start falling into place. What do you think would happen? Your mind would clear up, you'd save energy, and most importantly, you'd actually see real progress. Here's another hidden truth. You might think multitasking is a skill, but the truth is, it's not productivity. It's just a distraction for your attention. Every time you switch focus, your mind gets weaker, and slowly you lose depth. Forget about just working. Now imagine you're spending 2 hours focusing on only one thing. No phone, no distractions, no random thoughts. What happens then? You'll get so much done that others can't even manage in a whole day. That's the power of focused attention. Here's another powerful insight. Your life's quality is shaped by your priorities. If your priorities aren't clear, your life won't be either. So every morning, ask yourself one question. What's the one thing I can do today that will make everything else easier? That's exactly where transformation begins. Because now you're not living randomly. You're living your life following one direction. And the day you figure out what that one thing is, that's when your whole life will start to change. But the biggest question is, how do you actually find that one thing? Because this is where most people get confused. They think a lot of things are important. Career, money, health, relationships. And in the middle of all this confusion, their focus gets completely scattered. The one thing gives a powerful idea that can change your entire mindset. It tells you that not everything is equally important. Now, listen carefully. Some things in life just feel urgent. And then there are things that are actually important. But here's the problem. You get stuck on the urgent stuff. Phone notifications, random calls, social media, little distractions, and by the end of the day, the most important thing remains unfinished. Now imagine this. One person spends all day checking emails, replying to messages, busy with every little thing. Another person works just 3 hours on something meaningful. So who will get ahead in the long run? The one who really focused, because extraordinary results come from extraordinary focus. Now, here's something deep. You always try to manage your time, but what's the real truth? You need to manage your attention, not your time. Everyone has 24 hours in a day, but why does everyone grow differently? Because some people protect their attention, while others waste it everywhere. Now, ask yourself, where does most of your attention go? That's where your life is heading. If your whole day goes to distractions, then your life will become a distraction too. But when you focus on your purpose, your life becomes meaningful too. Now imagine giving your most important thing the top priority every single day. You spend your best focused time in the morning on that one thing. What happens then? Slowly, you'll start to stand out from the average crowd. Because most people just fit important things into whatever time they have left. But successful people actually save time for the important stuff. That's the difference. Here's another hidden truth. You might think you need more discipline, but most of the time, what you really need is clarity, because once you truly know what's important, distractions naturally start losing their grip.
Now, imagine if you're crystal clear about your main goal. Would you get caught up in every little thing? No, that's because you have direction. And when you have direction, you don't waste energy everywhere. Here's another powerful insight. Your success doesn't come from big decisions. It comes from your daily priorities. In other words, what you say yes to and no to every day is what shapes your future. But the problem is, people say yes to everything. You just say yes without thinking twice. Then you end up ignoring your real life. Now, imagine if you started rejecting all the unnecessary stuff. What do you think would happen? You'd have more time, clarity, and mental space. And most importantly, you'd start gaining depth. Slowly, you'll realize that success isn't about doing more. It's about doing the right thing again and again. The day you truly apply this principle, distractions in your life will decrease and your results will improve. That's also when you'll understand that the problem was never about time.
The problem was about priorities. Because whatever you spend the most time on, that's basically what your life becomes. The one thing really digs deep into this. Successful people don't do everything. They actually let go of a lot of stuff. Now listen carefully. You might think that if you do everything, you'll get ahead. But what's the truth? Every yes hides an important no. Like when you say yes to random scrolling, you're actually saying no to your focus. When you give attention to every distraction, you're ignoring your bigger goal. And slowly, you might be busy, but you're not really growing. Now imagine you decide that from now on, you won't be available for everything. You won't give your attention everywhere. You'll protect your energy. What will happen then? Your mind will calm down. Your work will get deeper. And most importantly, your identity will start to change. You won't be a reactive person anymore. You'll become intentional. Here's another deep thought. You might think focus is only needed for work, but the truth is, focus changes your whole life. If your attention stays on negativity, then you'll see problems everywhere if that's what you focus on. But if you keep your eyes on opportunities, you'll start seeing possibilities all around. Basically, your reality begins to shape itself based on what you focus on. Now imagine if every day you focus on growth instead of fear. What would happen? Slowly, your confidence would start to build because your mind would learn to look for progress, not weakness. Here's another hidden trap. You want instant results. You think if you work hard today, your life will change tomorrow. But the truth is, greatness compounds over time. Small, focused efforts add up bit by bit. It creates huge results over time. But the problem is, most people give up halfway because they don't see results right away. Now imagine someone getting just 1% better every day. At first, you might not notice any difference. But after a few months, they'll be on a totally different level. That's the power of consistent focus. Here's another important realization. Your environment either strengthens your focus or destroys it. If there's constant noise around you, deep work becomes impossible. That's why successful people don't just change their habits, they even design their own environment. Now imagine if you start removing distractions. Put your phone away, turn off notifications, a clean workspace. What will happen then? Your mind would naturally start to focus because you're not switching your attention every second. Here's another deep truth. You're always looking for motivation, but motivation is temporary. It's high today and low tomorrow. So real success doesn't come from motivation, it comes from a system. That means you don't have to decide every day, you just follow the system. And when the system is strong, progress happens on its own. Now slowly, it's becoming clear that the secret to being extraordinary isn't just hard work or clear focus. The day you learn to direct your attention the right way, that's when your confusion will start to fade and your clarity will grow. That's also when you'll realize something surprising. Most people don't fail because they aren't capable. They fail because their attention breaks down every single day. The one thing points out exactly this: distractions, which seem small from the outside, but slowly eat up your whole life. Now really listen. Every time you tell yourself, I'll just check my phone for 5 minutes, and those 5 minutes totally break your focus. Deep focus takes time to build, but just one notification is enough to shatter it. Now imagine you're completely absorbed in something important, and right then your phone vibrates. You check it for just a second, but it takes ages for your mind to fully get back. That's why people seem so busy these days, but deep work is almost gone. Here's something else to think about. Your mind always craves easy dopamine, scrolling, short videos, random entertainment, because it gives instant pleasure. But what's the problem? Instant gratification ruins long-term progress. That's because your mind starts avoiding hard work gradually. Your focus weakens, and soon you can't concentrate on anything even for 10 minutes.
Now imagine if you began training your mind again. Slow work, deep work, single tasking. What would happen? It'll feel tough at first because your mind is addicted to distractions, but slowly your focus will get stronger. And sharp focus can turn an average person into someone extraordinary. Here's another hidden truth. Your life is a reflection of your daily habits. If your everyday habits are all over the place, your life will be too. But if your habits are focused, your life will be focused as well. Now here's a question. The moment you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you pay attention to? Because that sets the direction for your entire day. If your mind gets distracted right from the start, your whole day ends up being reactive. But if you work on your one important thing first thing in the morning, no matter what happens later, you've already won the day. That's why successful people do the most important thing right at the start of your day. Because your mind is freshest in the morning, and a fresh mind is perfect for deep work. Now imagine you spend just an hour or two every morning focusing only on your most important task. No social media, no distractions. What do you think will happen? A few months down the line, your skills will be on a whole different level. Your confidence will be way up, and most importantly, your identity will change. You won't be the person who starts things but quits halfway anymore. You'll be the person who sticks with one thing and sees it through to the end.
Here's another deep insight. Success isn't complicated. People just make it complicated themselves. Actually, success is really simple. Keep doing the right thing over and over for a long time. That's it. But what's the problem? People look for excitement before consistency, and excitement is temporary. So the ones who accept the boring consistency, in the end, create those extraordinary results. Now you're slowly starting to realize that focus isn't some productivity hack. Focus is a lifestyle. And the day you adopt this lifestyle, your energy won't scatter anymore. Plain and simple. You'll start moving towards your dreams, and that's the day you'll truly understand what progress feels like. Because here's the thing. You're working hard, but you don't feel satisfied inside. Why? Because your hard work has no direction. That's exactly what the one theme is about. Hard work alone isn't enough. Focused hard work is powerful. Now listen closely. There are two kinds of people. One who puts a little effort into 10 different things every day, and another who gives their full depth of effort into just one thing. A few years down the line, the difference will blow your mind. That's because depth always beats spreading yourself too thin. Effort doesn't go to waste. Now imagine you're digging a hole. What happens if you dig in a new spot every day? You won't find any water. But if you keep digging in the same spot, eventually water will come out. That's life. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they lack consistency. They want quick results, and when results don't come fast, they change direction. But successful people, they embrace the boring repetition, because they know mastery comes from repetition, not excitement. Here's another one. Hidden talent. You want to learn everything all at once, but building deep skills takes time, and this is exactly where most people give up. Why? Because progress is slow at the start, but slow progress is still progress. And those who learn to respect slow progress go a long way in the long run. Now imagine you improve just 1% every day. You might not see anything big today, but after a year, your whole level will be completely different. That's the compound effect. Here's another deep insight. Your attention is your most valuable currency. And the world is constantly chasing your attention. Every app, every notification, every reel wants to steal your focus. Why? Because once your attention is controlled, your life is controlled. Now think, if you don't control your own attention, who's running your life? That's why focused people are becoming rare these days, and rare things are the most valuable. Now imagine becoming that person who can work deeply, hour after hour. What would happen then? You'd learn faster, create better stuff, and leave average people far behind. Because nowadays, focus has become a superpower. Here's another powerful truth. You don't have to grab every single opportunity. Sometimes saying no is your biggest strength, because saying no protects something important to you. But the problem is, people mistake distractions for opportunities, and then they end up losing their true direction. Now imagine if you clearly figured out what your priority is. What would happen? Your decisions would get easier, your mind would be clearer, and most importantly, your life would start to get simpler. Here's the thing. You're slowly starting to realize that an extraordinary life doesn't come from having extraordinary talent. It comes from having extraordinary focus. And the day you put all your energy, all your attention into that one important thing, that's the day your life will start to change. The kind of change others only dream about. Because here's the truth. Life isn't complicated. We're the ones who make it complicated. By holding on to everything, listening to every little distraction, giving importance to every noise, and then we complain we can't focus. But focus doesn't just happen on its own.
Success doesn't just happen. Every single morning,
Every single decision, you have to choose what to focus on. The one thing teaches this powerful truth. Success is no mystery. It's simple. You don't have to do everything. You just have to do the one thing that matters the most. Now imagine your mind is clear. You know your priority. Every day, you work on that one thing. No comparing, no unnecessary chatter, no random distractions. What happens then? Slowly, your confidence grows. You start to change your identity. And most importantly, you'll start trusting yourself. Because every day, you're proving to yourself that you can stay focused. And once someone builds that trust in themselves, nothing in the world can hold them back. Now, one last deep thought. You don't need everything in life. You only need what truly changes your life. But here's the problem. People keep putting off the important stuff, and they waste all their energy on things that don't matter. Then, years later, they realize they were busy but never moved forward. Now it's your choice. You'll live your life the same way too. They say you should focus little by little. But nowadays, if you really want to master something, you gotta pick one thing and stick to it. Because the average person looks for balance, but extraordinary people look for priorities. The day you clear up your priorities, that's when clarity starts showing up in your life. And clarity is the key to every big success. Subscribe to our channel and stay connected with us. Stay tuned for new content, updates, and valuable information.